I'm Emma G. Rose.
I'm Shell Shearer. We're indie authors.
And this is Indie Book Talk. Hello and welcome back to Indie Book Talk. Today we're going to try a little experiment.
Wow.
It's almost as devious as it sounds. Shelley got, for Christmas, I guess, got this deck of cards, and it's called Mythulu. Those of you who don't know what Mythulu is, and I did not before Shelley told me about it, may be interested in this little description I just found online. Mythulu Creation Cards challenge the stagnant pool of tropes and cliches that clutter your creativity. That sounds fun.
It is. So, essentially what it is, so I only have the starter pack. Apparently there's a bunch of expansions you can get, but
Okay.
The starter pack comes with 150 cards. It has 6 groups in the cards. There's a stack for elements, a stack for habitat, a stack for characters, a stack for relationships, traits, and textures. And then what it does is it gives you like ideas. Like, so if I wanted to build an adult character, I would pull at least 2 of the character cards. I would pull a relationship card and a texture and a trait card. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Why would I need a texture for an adult character?
This character feels scaly.
He's so soft.
We should also point out here that this is not like a paid advertisement or something. This is just us letting you in on the kind of silly stuff we do when we're not recording podcasts. So
Well, I was hoping
mind,
it would kind of give me ideas of different characters, because you kind of keep thinking of the same types of characters, and you may not think of different thingies. So I figured we'd just jump in and try one. Do you want to try an adult character and then give them an arc?
So we're going to make a character and like a development story.
So here's some of the drawing suggestions that it gives me in it. You can pick which ones we want to go with. I've got an adult character, an animal, architecture, a child character, a burial tradition, a character arc, a disease, an episode idea for a series, fashion, gender roles, habitat, race, rite of passage, seasons, or weapon.
Okay, so I don't want to do a disease because, yeah. I'm curious about the burial thing, but I think we should stay on brand here and go for an animal.
An animal, okay.
Yeah.
So that is 2 textures, all right? So our appearance is a tattoo. It just says mark to identify scars or remember. It's got this picture of a guy holding a baby and the guy's covered in tattoos. The baby's not covered in tattoos.
I thought you were going to tell me there was a baby covered in tattoos, and I was like, whoa.
And then the other one is fractals, which is repeating patterns recurring or progressively smaller scales found in chaotic phenomena like crystal growth, fluid turbulence, and galaxy formations. So our animal is a combination of fractals and tattoo.
So when I heard tattoo, I immediately thought snake.
Okay.
And then when I heard fractal, like that always makes me think of science, physics-y kind of things. So now we have like a cosmic snake in my mind with like a really complex scale pattern. I don't know what we're going to do with our cosmic snake, but I assume the cards will tell us.
I hope so. Let's see here. All right. Our next thing is an element. Wood. I don't know how we're going to have a wooden snake. We got this. Represents strength found through enduring storms and acquiring, my gosh, that's small writing, acquiring wisdom over time. Okay, so maybe not wood itself, but strength and endurance. I think we can still factor that in.
I think, well, okay, because, I mean, cosmic snake, right? So maybe he's been, like, slithering through the universe for a while, like a long time, getting bigger, getting stronger, enduring.
He's a god snake.
God snake.
He's out there.
We've created a snake god, yes.
We've got this. Excellent. Okay, his terrain. Ooh, it's a dust bowl. Oh
Oh
no, this
no.
works. This works. An abused or overused habitat that is dying. So this poor cosmic state god has left his world because it was dying, and he's now trying to find a new habitat.
Oh no, poor thing. He probably has no followers left. They've all, dehydrated and died. And now he's all alone on this planet and he's going to quest off into the universe. Do you think he can just like float through the universe, or does he need like some sort of snake spaceship? No, he's going to float. I think he's going to float
I
to be
think he
fine.
floats or teleports in some way. I think maybe like, I don't know, space phenomena.
Well, I feel like if we teleport him, then that like limits our opportunities for weird adventures to happen along the way.
True. He should
But
float.
if he can kind of float or slither like through the nothingness of space and between stars, like that's kind of cool.
That is cool. All right, we have one last card for him. His
Okay.
character is Tangled. Something
Oh
useful or
no!
beautiful that has fallen into chaos to the point of losing its function indicates neglected responsibility. Our poor little snake god has had a bad life. So,
Well, now maybe he went through maybe he went through an asteroid belt and he got tangled up and now he's stuck in the asteroid belt.
maybe it's his emotions that are tangled. Maybe
Well, I mean, I guess if you want to go that direction.
maybe his feelings and emotions about this whole being adrift in the galaxy are just causing chaos and turmoil in him.
I mean, maybe he might feel like he wasn't a very good god. I mean, if his whole planet is dead and he has no followers left and he's now bereft and floating through space, like, yeah, he might have some feelings about his job performance.
Okay, I'm not sure we did very well on that one.
I love it. Someone write this for us, please. Thank you.
All right, how about burial? We both love burial things.
Yes.
Okay, disposal method is the first one. So our disposal method is wind.
Interesting. Okay.
Represents connection to the unknown, responsible for storms, pollination, erosion, spread of disease, and pollution. So, I mean, wind is fine. I mean, especially cremation, you could let the wind take people away. I can see where that would work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like we're going to tie them to a balloon and set them on fire or something, so it's fine.
I mean, you could tie them to a balloon and set them on fire. Legitimately, do you want to hear something incredibly beautiful?
Yes.
So this is to do with burial. I knew a young lady named Sienna, and she was a delightful young lady. She was 17 when she died with cancer.
Oh.
And her big thing was she wanted to be remembered. And so I feel comfortable mentioning her on this podcast. So all of you people now know she exists. So Sienna, before she died, she made this plan with her family that her ashes, some of her ashes, would be put into space.
Aww.
And so they put her with a photo of her with a bunch of little Lego minifigures stuck to it. They put some of her ashes in a balloon, which apparently you're allowed to do under the right circumstances. And they released it, and it had a camera on it. And so there's this beautiful video where you're watching the balloon go into space, and then of course when it gets high enough, it pops, and the ashes just sort of go.
That is beautiful.
It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and I've never watched it without crying.
Oh, see, that would actually work perfectly with wind. It's unique and it's lovely, and it's it's not something that most people would think of.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let's see where we go from there. Balloons with ashes.
All right. So the next one is last to touch the body at the funeral. It says draw 2 relationship cards. So it's these 2 people are the last 2 people.
Uh-oh.
And it's velvet and vibrating. So, so velvet is labor-intensive weave of fabric that mimics soft fur of a young buck's antlers, and vibrating is a gentle, resonant rumble. It has a picture of a kitten. Usually felt when some kind of energy is flowing freely. So to me, that might be like a beloved pet.
Yes, definitely.
So that calls out to me like her beloved cat or dog came up and was the last person to put like their nose on her or something as a farewell.
Aww.
All right, you get the next one. It is disenfranchised grief. My, what a word. And that is yin and yang. Opposing dissonant forces that rely on each other for balance. Powerful forces in the world.
Oh man, give me a hard one. Wait, so what am I supposed to be doing with this?
It just says disenfranchised grief. I don't know how that one works.
Well, I mean, disenfranchised grief is usually somebody who like doesn't feel that like they have the right to grieve somebody, or doesn't like. A lot of times it's, your ex dies and that's a disenfranchised grief, or even somebody that you were like enemies with but now they're gone, and so it's a whole thing.
So that kind of works with the opposing. So
Yeah.
maybe an enemy suddenly realizes what they've lost from their life and they have to rethink, did they make the right choice? Should they have, reconnected?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unless you can think of something else.
No, I mean, that's always a good one. I'm not sure how that's going to fit into the story yet. Okay, let's keep going and we'll see what we come up with.
Okay, the last one is the method of remembrance. And for that we have woven, fibers lovingly tangled into a useful shape.
Oh, so our disenfranchised person who is feeling like oh, sorry, I like went off on a thing. Okay, so the disenfranchised person who is feeling like they don't have their room to grieve has now made a hook rug out of discarded cat fur, representing representing the person that they have lost.
Where did cat fur come from?
Because you were talking about the pet and the little kitten would be the last one.
Okay.
And so, see, now the person who is disenfranchised, they are now responsible for the cat, right? So they got they were separated, but they had bought the cat together, and then they separated, and then our person died, right?
Uh-huh.
And so now the ex now has possession of the cat, and so their method of grieving, since the cat was the last person to touch their beloved, who they didn't know they were still beloved of. So this is their method of mourning.
Is to weave a death rug out of cat fur.
Yes.
Okay, I'm on board.
All forms of grief are valid.
Yeah. Whatever floats your boat. Just make sure that fur is naturally shed. Don't shave your cat.
Please don't shave your cat. There are legitimately people, though, who not shaving their cat, but who make remembrance things, but also like other things out of unconventional fur. So like,
oh yeah, my dogs have undercoats, and people use that for weaving, and I'm like, okay.
When you don't want to waste resources, these are the choices you make.
That would be great. So that is our burial tradition.
We could take our burial tradition and our snake god and somehow squash them together into a single story. Is that the goal, or is it just...
It depends on how you want to work it. You can do it that way, definitely. Or we can give our burial tradition enemy a character arc.
Let's give him a character arc. Let's see what happens to him.
Okay, so it's a him. We're going him.
I feel like a man... and this is going to be really stereotypical, but I feel like a man is more likely to be the disenfranchised griever because he may be a little less in touch with his emotions at the time of the separation.
Okay, so supposedly this arc starts, it's sticky. Persistent, unpleasant residue that clings after minor contact.
This is great. It goes. It's perfect.
So... unpleasant contact with the dead? I don't know, like the...
Well, I think we can interpret that as the unpleasant contact. He's still kind of in that sticky space of the separation. So yeah, he's grieving, but he has that unpleasant, like, yeah, but I hated her, but I loved her, but I hated her, So I think we can start that as the beginning of our arc.
Okay. The catalyst for change is water. Currency of life symbolizes connection, breaks boundaries, nurturing. So he's taking over the cat, and he realizes with nurturing the cat, he gets in touch with his feelings somehow.
I like this. Maybe the cat starts talking to him.
Ooh, a talking cat. Okay.
Yeah, because we need a talking cat in this story.
Maybe instead of a snake, we could have had a cat with an interesting coat color, like a calico, but with cool patterned calico.
Ooh, yeah, let's go back and retroactively change that entire storyline. Do it.
Okay, so now we have the cat.
Everything's the same. It's just a cat instead of a snake. It's
Yes.
fine.
All right, and then what is it? What stays consistent? Unequal, heavily outmatched in relevant qualities or resources.
Oh, so we have our little cat who's his pet cat, right?
Mhm.
Like the one that he's taking care of. But then we have our cat god who's been traveling through space. And so now we have cat god wants to come and be like, "Oh, Earth looks nice. I could take this place." Right? And our talking cat and our anti-hero guy here are the only ones who know that this is about to go down. Well, I mean, other cats know, but they can't talk. Only our cat can talk.
Yes.
So he's like relaying this to humans because he's like, hey, dude, I don't have thumbs. Can you help me with this imminent invasion of cat god?
And that works because his end arc is being torn, forcibly separated or continue to exist separately. So he's torn and is like, I'm trying to help you guys and tell you about this cat god, and no one's believing me.
Yeah. And like everybody thinks maybe he's gone a little crazy with grief and he's not thinking straight. And he's like, the cat's talking to me, but the cat won't talk to anyone else because she's like, they'll put me in a cat zoo or a TV show or something. We got to do this on our own. And he's like, no, we need the FBI and they won't help us.
Okay. So
This is
that's
a
our
terrible
story.
story. I love it.
It is terrible. But I can see where it could give you thoughts and ideas to work with.
I feel like the place where this would be most useful, because now I kind of want these, the place where this is most useful is when you get to that point in a story where you're like, oh man, I know I got to go somewhere, but I'm not sure where. And everything I think of is just sort of like the same things I've done before. Because when you start to smash different things together in your head, especially as a pantser, I feel like having something that's like an external thing to say, hey, maybe you could go this way and just
Right.
sort of explore that. I think that could be really valuable.
And some of it, I mean, the cards are really beautiful. The images on the cards. So you could just go, rather than reading them, you could just go by the feeling you get from the cards, or just a word here or there. And it says, sometimes maybe just draw 4 character cards and see what ties them together and build that character that way in your brain.
Oh, they
So
are pretty.
you're supposed to be able to like build them however you want. I mean, obviously you can go very, very silly.
No. Well, I have to say that I'm writing a story right now that involves tarot cards as like part of the story, and so sometimes when I get stuck in the story, I just go and like spread out the deck and see what catches my eye.
Which I think is kind of how this is supposed to work. Like,
Yeah,
use it to like unstick your brain a little bit.
yeah, unstick yourself.
We were dealing with a sticky burial earlier. We have things.
Now I want to wash my hands. Okay.
So there you go, everybody. If you think that would help for you, you can go check out the Mythulu Creation Cards.
And come to Twitter and tell us what other tools you use for unsticking your brain or otherwise getting yourself moving when you're not sure where you're going in writing.
Or very much tell me what you created using these.
Yes. If anyone wants to share their stories based on their Mythulu cards. Also, I think the Mythulu company has some sort of magazine or something where they take submissions. I didn't really dig into that, but it's on their website, so it might be worth looking at.
Well, in this little booklet it comes with, there's an app, videos, a Discord channel, a podcast, VR, and even private consultations, I guess, to help you learn how to read the cards and work with them. I don't know. Seems like a lot of stuff going on that you can work with.
Cool.
But again, this is not an ad. This is just, I happen to have them, and we decided to give them a try.
We don't have ads, but we do get excited about things.
Because we are writing geeks. We can't help it.
And we don't want to help it, frankly.
Exactly.